Hey, Craig Cottle with Nature Reliance School, guest instructor with dansdepot.com. What I want to discuss with you today is the most important thing to take with you in regards to survival. So stay tuned. So I've had what most would consider the bad fortune, I would consider the good fortune of being lost. And that is a scary situation to be in. Okay. Since that time, I have spent a lot of time studying the psychology of survival, mainly to try to explain to myself why I did some of the things I did. Okay, one of the things that I did was I started running through the woods like a madman, and I panicked, mainly because I was young and I was inexperienced in the woods, and I just didn't feel real comfortable. It was one of the first times I'd been out on my own. I was like 12 or 13 years old. So I've been studying this idea, psychology of survival, to explain to myself what goes on and to find out what others have done that have survived near-death situations in the wilderness or any sort of situation where they've been thrust into a survival situation. And this is what everybody had. Everybody had a will to live. So that is what you need to take with you on any given survival situation. So one of the things for me that gives me a will to live is my family. And I'm not saying that everybody has to have a family to be able to do these things and study survival and survive a situation. But for me personally, that's one of the things that gives me the will to live, is I have a family that I care for deeply. So one of the things that I do is I put stuff on my pack that helps me remind myself of them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my pack and show you some things that are there from my friends and my family, and that'll give you some indicators of what I've done to help me survive if I get thrust in a bad situation. First and foremost is the pack itself. The pack that I carry with me is one that was given to me quite by surprise by a good friend of mine, and so this pack holds a lot of meaning to me. I wasn't expecting him to give me a pack, and he gave me this pack, and so I hold it very dear to me. So I carry it. I'll probably carry it until it falls apart. So other things that I've got on my pack, my daughter, she makes these little zip ties and stuff of that nature, and she's a little bit older now. She doesn't make as many of them now, but on most of my zip ties, you'll see I have these brightly colored zip ties on here that, number one, help me find the zippers, and number two, remind me of her. Another thing she used to do when she was little was she would leave me surprise notes, and I would end up finding these in my sleeping bag, in my pack, in different pockets and stuff of that nature. And so quite honestly, I've just left them there. Wherever I found them, I left them. She draws comics, and so this is one of her comics about camping. So I have all this stuff on there because what we found in survival situations is that desire to will, or that will to live, whether that be because of family or work or religion or any number of things, is what drove people to push themselves harder than they normally would have. And so, I'm sorry, I'm pausing. There's turkeys again, and I'm trying to eyeball them. But in any given situation, you want to make sure that you have some way to help you have a will to live. What brought this up is I was doing the video for pace count beads, or ranger beads. These were made by a friend of mine, Tracy Trimble. They mean a lot to me. He gave those to me as a gift. So even these paracord cordage ties, these were made by my family, my son, my daughter, my wife, and so I have them on here so that they are a remembrance of them. So, I'm not saying I want to be in a survival situation. I'm just knowing if I have this pack with me and I am thrust in a survival situation, then I'll have reminders of why it is that I want to get back, because that is what I'll need to give me the will to survive in a situation where I want to give up. So again, the most important thing to survival is not necessarily gear, it's your mindset and your will to live. So you figure out a way to do that, even if that's through just simple quiet solitude and consideration of those that you care about. Reminders on your pack like I've done here, or whatever it takes for you to develop that will to survive. So if you're thrust into a situation, you have the ability to get out. So until next time, I hope to see you on or off the trail.